Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. We closed our building up in 2020. A lot of people did. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought. What's the philosophy of eschatology? What do you need to know? What's your reality? What's the existence? Your existence during the end of days. Why were you born for such a time as this? We solve a little piece of Revelation. We're working on Revelation 17 and 18, especially Babylon. And we're going to be discussing John Paul Jackson this week. I have relegated him to the dust heap of prophets over the years, but after 10 years now of, almost 20 years really, because he died 10 years ago, but he's very intriguing when I look at his prophecies again in light of what's actually occurring today, and I have more information now, so I can measure his prophecies better. So his warnings were kicked out 2008 through 2014, 15, and he died in 2015. And I had always thought because he hung around with bozos that there was guilt by association. Well, that's not actually the case. Yeshua met with bozos all the time, and it didn't taint him. So let's talk about John Paul Jackson as if he's a prophet, and we'll address just one video from him, and only about 5 to 10 minutes of it, okay? So we'll test out the Bible, we'll test out the news, things like that. But anyway, so guilt by association. Why am I having problems with John Paul Jackson? Because of Robert Morris, who was found to have had relations with a 12-year-old girl. And Daystar is the worst culprit in all of this because they keep on pushing all of these sleazeballs at us. So who has fallen lately here? Well, Bishop Jakes and Robert Morris and Dr. Tony Evans and really mega churches, Charisma Magazine has looked horrible and sick lately, and James Robeson has had issues. He may have had some sexual sins in his background too. So there's another picture of Robert Morris. So keep in mind, this is Daystar, and I pulled this up after the Morris stuff came out, days afterwards. So this is still on their website as if he's the hero of the faith when he's just a sick, twisted person. I think Robeson is just as guilty. So this is Daystar again. This is his church. I don't even want to mention the name of his church. And is it guilt by association? Is he going to fry, or are all of these people going to fry? I don't know. I'm not the judge. I don't have to worry about that. But James Robeson, he came out with a horrible video the other day here saying, "Oh, well, I didn't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I came clean on all." No, he didn't. He didn't even ask any questions. He did nothing. Okay, so with Robert Morris and things like that. So anyway, if you look at the Daystar list of people, you've got people like Johnny, who was the wife of Marcus Lamb, but he's dead now. Creflo Dollar, who is hideous. I don't know anything about Rebecca Weiss. I assume that's Johnny's daughter. There's Marcus Lamb. Affairs, at least one, maybe more. That he was caught on. And then way down in the bottom in the middle there, you've got John Paul Jackson. It's like, why is he there with the Rogues Gallery? So what's going on? They're all prosperity pimps, Why is he there? Hopefully it's not guilt by association. So keeping in mind that Marcus Lamb admitted to adultery back in, this is 2010. It was years before that, but a worldwide television audience Tuesday with a woman years ago alleged that 3 people who had tried to extort millions of dollars from him to stay quiet about his infidelity. Nice guy, great guy. Okay, so that's Marcus Lamb, who died in 2021. And this man named Fred Clark wrote in December 10th of 2021, Marcus Lamb's death from from the illness last week caused me to revise my impression of the man. It seemed to be the first authentic thing he'd ever done. So the Daystar Television Network, with hosts that promote the Rogues Gallery of A-listers like Joel Osteen, Paula White, who disgusts me, Kenneth Copeland, big disgusting, Creflo Dollar, huge disgusting. This is their daily list of people, the Rogues Gallery. So he was with them. That's odd, okay? And people like Jimmy Evans, I don't have any time for him, or Lance Wallnau. Oh, Lance is just worthless. And so there's Marcus Lamb there on the right-hand side with Johnny and John Paul Jackson. So I just wrote him away because this is Daystar. This is wacky people. Lance Wallnau constantly saying crazy things like, here you go down below. On the God's unfolding plan special on the night of the insurrection. Lance Ball claimed that it was Antifa that invaded the Capitol. Yeah, and I mean, these guys predicted that Trump would win, and Hank Kuhneman of some church in Omaha, Nebraska, attempting to comfort his audience. Man, I tell you, it's difficult to know the truth when you have these people that are the rogues gallery of prophecies. And John's part of it. So once again, Johnny has her own little show where she brings on her little girlfriends, and they're just like The View. And there's John Paul Jackson, lower right-hand side, talking to them about prophecy. So the rest of the show is just a waste of time. It's like watching The View, but John Paul Jackson was interesting. And I watched it back when I had a TV back before 2013, and I don't like TV anymore. I think it's wicked. So anyway, the point is there's John Paul Jackson meeting with them. And so I figured I'm not going to test out his words, but one of you kind people that love me sent me an email saying, just watch it one more time. So I did. And I realized, oh my, he was spot on. So let's go through it now. This is the 2008 video called The Coming Perfect Storm, Streams Ministry, which is his brand, and it's John Paul Jackson. And so I think I need to repent of dismissing John Paul Jackson all these years. Why? Because, yes, he stood by and said nothing to Marcus Lamb when he started his ongoing affair. He said nothing about Johnny and Friends when they preached the pre-trib rapture, blah, blah, blah. And then he stood by while Robert Morris preached at Daystar Amidst, knowing that he did things with a 12-year-old girl. He sounded ridiculous in this 2008 video when I watched it in 2008, 2010, 2012. And now here I am looking back and saying, oh, it's highly accurate. That's how it works in prophecy. Get used to it. Okay, so the first thing that he leads out with at about the 13, 14-minute mark of the video is the woes of 2012. That Obama would divide the United States and that he would cause all sorts of problems. Now, he didn't cite Obama specifically, but we know that the nation was divided with Barack Obama. The third seal prophecy had to do with Hurricane Sandy when it arrived. And then the citation was 1 Kings 12, which is Jeroboam and Rehoboam fighting and nation divided, Israel. Okay, so then also Benedict decided in 2012 that he would retire in early February 13, and that he had the recent vacated monastery renovated in secret, that it would be ready for him. So Benedict died December 31st of whatever year it happened to be, fairly recently. And so that's Vatican News. So we've got one situation with Barack Obama being reelected in 2012 that really divided the nation, and it's been worse since then. Then we've got the Pope retiring, and what we believe is the false prophet coming in right after that with lightning strikes 2. And then Lucis Trust said, for example, prophecies about the significance of the year 2012 created a dynamic environment of expectation and action, and elements of fear and fantasy, things like that. So anyway, there's 2025 is a big deal for Lucis Trust. Yes, Lucifer Publishing. Okay, and Alice Bailey and all the fun stuff. So 2012, when John Paul Jackson now says the woes of 2012, I say, he's right. Okay, I'm sorry that I was so mean to you, John Paul Jackson. Obama. This is a video from iPet Goat, and it's very interesting, showing Obama, kind of lying and smirking and acting like he's twisting the truth. And really, what we're going to say is, it's the Biden administration. They're part of the same thing. They're part of the 6th number in Revelation 17, and then the 7th would be Trump. And so they're part of the third seal. They're part of Hurricane Sandy. They're part of all sorts of horrible things. And I'm arguing on the right-hand side, the third seal is all about inflation, 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 and also that the wealthy will do something. It's called an avonim. It's a sin against the poor, where it doesn't read as well as it should, but basically when the inflation hits, the rich will look at the poor and say, I don't know who you are. And when things revert later on and the poor suddenly have food because they're willing to grow it, the rich are going to say, oh, feed us, please. And it's not going to work out for the rich. Okay? So basically, don't be stingy and greedy when things get bad. Try to help people, okay? So that's the third seal. It denotes judgment, and we are in that process. So 2012 was huge. Okay, especially since I believe that's when the third horseman started riding, and inflation is getting worse. You know that. Okay, so the coming perfect storm, continuing on, he led out with 2012 being a bad year. Then also, climate change causes faster jet streams and flights. Yes, what he said was jet streams will go wild. Major weather shifts, droughts, water insecurity. So here's on the right hand side. Then, so actually, no, that's the record breaking flights. We're noticing winds. I'm noticing it right now. I live in Minnesota. The winds outside are bonkers every day of the week. They're just much more powerful. Okay. And then on the right hand side, droughts, flash droughts. So what you'll notice is rains in Minnesota like crazy, and then droughts someplace else. So you're going to notice these weird flash droughts and flash storms. Yeah, that's just what's going to happen, and water insecurities too. So then John Paul Jackson talks about coming earthquakes and volcanoes. Not yet. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer. We know that we'll hit that phase shortly, probably within a year or so. Okay. Thunderstorms, yes, we're there. Hail, yes, we're there. Homes evacuated in Italy after the strongest quake in 40 years near super volcano. That's Campi Flegrei, and that is going to hit at some point in time. This is from The Guardian. Yes, it will hit, no doubt about it. And there will be more across the world. John Paul Jackson mentioned the center of the country, probably New Madrid, will hit before the coast, which would be, well, there's two. There's the Cascadia, which is really nasty in Washington and Oregon, but also then down below the earthquake zone, fault zone going through California. But also there will be some East Coast type out probably in the ocean, but they'll just kick horrible waves and just inundate California. How about Florida? So anyway, then this is a prediction from John Paul Jackson of 350 mile per hour tornadoes. Well, we just hit 300 miles per hour for the first time ever in Greenfield, Iowa. Yeah, it's that bad. Okay. So then continuing on, rains in Florida, 25 inches, 20 inches, 19 inches, all over the place. Then in my home, Minnesota here, 9.8 inches in Adrian, Mankato, 7 inches, Worthington, 6 inches, just nasty flooding all over the place. Flooding in Brazil, Kenya flooding, 181 killed since March. Flooding, but once again, drought over here, floods over there, and it doesn't make any sense. God makes sense, but we don't make any sense from this. Okay, then also what we have is seed issues. This is what John Paul Jackson is saying. Seed and crop failures will have blight coming to the seeds and things like that. And then, as I mentioned already, we'll have water problems. So if you don't have water, like Idaho right now, they're going to have potato issues where they can't grow their potatoes because they planted them, but then Idaho said, you're not going to get any water. So then down below that, you're going to see weed issues and just seed issues and in general. So I agree with him. And then hunger too. Then there will be an epidemic. He didn't know what that was in 2008. Okay. We know it now, and I can't even say it. Then he talked about suns and the signs and the sun, the moon, the stars, an anomaly. He didn't call it that, but then a pole shift where he knew that there would be openings in the sky. Well, that is the anomaly. That is, we'll have more of these. Right now, we have a South Atlantic anomaly that is an opening, and the UV comes through, and he talked about UV coming through. Then the pole shift. He didn't specifically call it that, but he knew the poles would move, and there would be other issues like that. Then we'd have magnetic weakening, ionospheric disruption. This is from Ben Davidson. Extreme weather, volcanic surge, and then, so then he did kind of mention, not exactly like Ben does right here from Suspicious Observers, but that our magnetosphere would thin. He did state the magnetosphere, which is very impressive. For a non-scientist and a non-nerd to know about the magnetosphere is really impressive. So thank you, John Paul Jackson, for doing that. I might have to repent, guys. I might have to. Okay, he did not cite the big thing. Now, I will cite somebody named Rachel Baxter, and I think she's going to talk about it. This is basically my chart talking about how the sun will go from yellow to white, and it's already gone to white, to red, to black. Then it will micronova exactly when a blood moon eclipse occurs. And there's a couple of them in 2025, one in 2026, and I seem to think it's going to happen in 2025. So we'll see. But Rachel talked about some things like that, and then she'll come back and probably record this again. I'll cite her in a couple of slides after this. Okay, then he said satellites are going to have disruptions, airplanes disruptions, communications disruptions. What Putin is trying to do is drive up fuel prices, so they will go up. Putin, I never thought about it this way, but John Paul Jackson nailed that. He said the motivation for Putin is not to just start little wars down in the Middle East, which I thought was the case, for like vacation areas for his people in Russia. No, 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 no. He wants to make more money off oil. So anytime he can disrupt things in certain regions, he's going to do it to make more money off his oil. Smart, okay? So Musk's Starlink satellites disrupted by the major solar storm. That's May 11th of 2024. That was not a major storm, but it was major in terms of we weren't able to protect ourselves from it. And we did see auroras, no doubt about it. Okay, I went out all 3 days over that weekend. And then airplanes are going to be grounded at times. It's going to be that problematic for many reasons. Could be, solar forcing. It could be communications errors. Issues. John Paul Jackson talks about that. Very interesting. So just be expecting more airplane issues in addition to Boeing being stupid. So then he predicted there will be a dirty bomb in the United States, whatever that happens to mean. There will be a war between Israel and Iran. Russia wants to push the fuel prices higher. So if they can disrupt that Persian Gulf shipping corridor, they will make more money. So they're going to force those types of issues. So just get ready for it. He talked about Mother Russia, and I've talked about this for 10, 12 years, that Putin and then his handmaiden would be Alexander Dugin, talk about Eurasia and Mother Russia all the time, coming back again. So when they're invading the Ukraine, what they're trying to do is drive up oil costs, okay? And also food costs too. But really what they're trying to do is bolster that Mother Russia view, and take back what they believe are Russian territories and really, drive the world crazy so that they can make more money, which is logical from their standpoint, okay? And Putin just flew out to South Korea and to China, and he's trying to disrupt. He's a brilliant man. He's a chess player. And Biden is not a chess player. He can't even play tiddlywinks. So is America Babylon? I argue that it is based on Revelation 17. And I found Revelation 17 in the Hebrew, and it talks about lilies, and it's very interesting, people. So if you can read it for free, the Revelation in the Hebrew from the Van Rensing family, I think it is, it's very intriguing, people. You should be reading it. So according to Israel 365 News and Valerie Locke, a Palestinian state will lead to war with the USA, and that will cause the curse. And so Babylon is America, because Babylon keeps on saying, and our presidents keep on saying, oh, we love Israel. But then they allow the two-state solution, and they allow the attacks against Israel from the United Nations on our soil. It's in New York. We are the city. We are the nation. We are Babylon. There's no doubt about it. And it's the horrors and the earth's obscenities because we keep on cursing Israel. Okay? God doesn't like that. And so I'm not going to read the whole verse. You can read Revelation 17 in the Hebrew. And this is more English with some Hebrew in it. But drunk from whoring, well, that's what it is. Okay, so over the years, I've cited 3 men consistently, and other people do too. Wilkerson, who died April 27th of 2011. Henry Gruver, who died in 2017, maybe 2018. Great guy. Great guy. Met him in Iowa. And then I've never met Dumitru Duduman. He was from Romania. But I met Michael Bodea, and I talked to him frequently. So Wilkerson said there would be a worldwide recession caused by economic confusion, starting in Germany, then going to Japan, then America. A flood of filth, well, we're seeing that. Labor pains in nature, yep. Rebellion in the home, persecution madness against truly spirit-filled Christians who love Jesus Christ. Then an urgent message in 2009. I've been warning about 1,000 fires coming to New York City. New York City is going to burn at some point in time. Major cities all across America will experience riots and blazing fires. And it's coming, people. We're actually probably about a year and a half away. Okay. And so he not too far off. Well, it'll probably be 2025, 2026. Okay. So those 3 guys. Gruver said Russia will attack and defeat the United States. And he said this in 1986 with the invasion. So it's just interesting. Yeah, we'll lose 60% of our population. It's not going to happen yet, but it's going to happen at some point in time. Once again, he was 77 when he died, and I did meet him down in Iowa. Oh, it was 2019. There you go, October 10th of 2019. Good man, good man. And so once again, I met him in Iowa, and he talks about Russia invading submarines off the coast, and the subs. Have you noticed the news lately? Russian subs have been off the Florida coast, and it doesn't take much time to launch, especially these fast rockets that Russia has now. So the Russian invasion, yep, okay. Duduman, same basic thing. Russia will attack America. So I've got three guys saying things are going to burn and Russia wants to attack. And Russia does want to because they cite weakness in the leadership in America right now. Okay, so he lived to be 65. Great guy. And his grandson, Michael Boldea, is still working, still active. Wonderful, wonderful man. Wonderful. Great guy. Okay, so I'm citing an additional person now, which is Rachel Baxter. Please watch these videos. Rachel Baxter is live. Judgment on Chicago, World War III type of a video. She's finally been released to say something. And I'm saying, on the left-hand side, Carla's one of my friends. She was watching the show too. So America is definitely going to fall for a time. Yes, Carla is correct with that. I said, come out of Babylon. Like, is that phrase applying this way? Come out of certain Babylonian American cities. Maybe so. Okay. So Carla agreed with me. So watch these videos. Rachel Baxter, Orchard Consulting. Watch these videos. It's 52 minutes, 39 minutes. You'll be intrigued by these videos. Okay. She's really close to what these other guys are saying. And then, so getting back to John Paul Jackson, I apologize, guys. I truly thought he was part of a rogues gallery, the clown show. No, he was an honest person just doing an honest day's labor. So basically, the message is that when you go on a show like this, it doesn't taint the message. So if Jesus came on a really bad show, a clown show, it wouldn't taint Jesus. The clown show is still the clown show. So you can bring a godly message into an ungodly situation. We're in the birth pangs. We're not in the tribulation of the Great Tribulation. We seem to be getting closer. The Great Tribulation will come, 3.5 years from the end of that era of whatever we're in, okay? So I believe in the 7-year situation. I believe the two witnesses show up beforehand and leave during the midpoint. And we're closer, but we're not in. We're not in. You're working on you and your loved ones because there's going to be a wedding come Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, or Sukkot of some upcoming year. You can't be naked. You have to wear garments that are clean. It's a wedding. Yeshua is going to wed you. Come to the wedding, okay? So that's Beth Hesed for this week. I think you understand what I'm getting at. I apologize to John Paul Jackson. And and bless his ministry now. Highly accurate based on the video. So I'll put that in the link down below. Take care. God bless.